as long as we're on the poor shaming beat for the moment, this story is just unbelievable to me. And I read it I guess it was last week, maybe it was a couple of days ago, and I just couldn't believe it. I don't know where I found this story. Presumably a local paper. PS 120 in Queens. Matt is our Queens expert. Where is Queens? Where's PS 120?
Oh, I'm not sure, but actually.
Okay, well, Queens is huge, as they say.
It is very huge.
It's in Flushing. And they held a carnival for their kids. I guess it was a week or two ago. They had, the bouncy castles and whatnot. And they would send the kids out to the carnival, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade. Each class would take a turn. Each class spending 45 minutes at the bouncy castles and whatnot. DJ was playing music. There was popcorn, flavored ices. But apparently, about 100 kids out of the 1,000 kids who go to the school were brought into the auditorium when their class went out to play because their parents did not give the $10 to support the carnival. So this must-pay rule excluded some of the poorest kids at the elementary school, some of the kids whose parents are immigrant families and are not only poor, but also maybe the parents don't speak very good English. Apparently, there was one 7-year-old girl who was crying hysterically. I mean, when you're 7 years old and all your friends go out to the car, I don't care how old you are. If you're old enough to understand what's going on, let's say you're in 6th grade or 5th grade, and you're like, well, my family's either too poor or my parents screwed up, and I can't go outside for this carnival. Teacher said the parents possibly did not see or understand the flyer that went home and didn't have $10 to spare. One child asked, "Are we being punished?" Apparently, the principal, Joan Monroe, put up a list of the number of students per class, how many attending paid, how many not attending not paid. And then on the morning of the carnival, she used a loudspeaker to remind teachers to send a list of kids who did not pay. The kids who paid the $10 got stuffed animals to give to the kids who paid for the carnival. So the kids actually came back with like a prize from the carnival if they were allowed to go. The kids who were excluded got nothing. Now, some of the teachers said, screw this. I'm not giving anything to any of the kids, or I'm going to get some of my own toys to give to the kids. Another teacher sickened by the inequity. If you're doing a carnival during school hours, it should be free. It doesn't matter if it's 1 kid or 200 kids sitting in the auditorium. They should have all been out there. Now, understand the implications of this, okay? Let's start with the least sort of sociopathic. These teachers who are there, who obviously leaked this story to the paper, the ones who were helping the kids, they were probably, I would imagine, a huge percent of these teachers are just disgusted by this because this is psycho. This is sociopathic. These teachers raise a word of this to the principal, and they don't have some process to make sure that there's due process for them getting fired, they're screwed. All right, so when you talk about what possible situations could there be, this is an extreme one, but this is the kind of stuff that you want to guard against. All right, so let's put that aside. This is insane. Here's the worst part about it. Frank Chow, the president of the Parents Association that sponsored the carnival, said Monroe insisted that the kids whose parents didn't pay could not partake. She was saying it's not fair to the parents who paid, Chow said. You can't argue much, I guess. The school is under her. All right? So here's even the parents being cowed, never mind the teachers. The carnival cost $6,200, including fees to a carnival company called Send in the Clowns. It reaped a $2,000 to $3,000 profit.
This woman needs to be fired immediately. She needs to be fired.
I wish we just charged the parents the cost, not to make extra, Chow said. The profit is earmarked for the pre-K, kindergarten, and fifth grade moving up parties. PS 120 families have also paid annual PA dues of $15 per family. That money will be spent on window air conditioning units, Chow said. So you see how, I mean, the idea, first of all, and I've mentioned this many times before, you want to know if a school, how well a school does, particularly in New York City. But I would imagine this is just about anywhere. Look at what the Parents Association budget is. In some public schools in this city, it can be $1 million. It can raise $1 million extra dollars. The idea of having air conditioning. How is it possible that there are some public schools in this city that have air conditioning and others don't? How is it possible that you can expect teachers to perform, students to learn in a classroom where they're literally sweating all over their papers? How is it, do you think, that teachers can be held responsible when kids are shut out of going to a carnival and locked into an auditorium and wait for their friends to come back with stuffed animals so that they're reminded either that they're poor or their parents just couldn't figure it out or whatever? I mean, this is just crazy. It's crazy.
I wonder, being that this the money that they raise from the carnival is going towards the air conditioners, I wonder if this principal will figure out a way to make sure that the kids who did not pay.
Well, it's
will
not, this money's
down.
not going to the air conditioner. It's going to a party that presumably all the kids will go to, but it doesn't matter. I mean, look, it doesn't matter. The idea that you would have some type of, that people could get shut out of. I mean, look, my daughter's going on a field trip tomorrow to Philly. And the teachers made it clear, nobody's going to be kept out. Nobody's going to be kept off this trip for money. Now, we had to send in, I don't know, it was like $40. And, you know, some people chip in a little bit more to help out. But I imagine, I don't know if the teachers are going to raise the money or what, if they're short. But we go to a school in a fairly wealthy area. We should be funding public schools. Issues like this should never, ever. People should laugh at the idea that something like this could happen. This should be a joke. Can you imagine there's an alternate universe where elementary school kids are kept out of a carnival that their friends go to if they're too poor? This should be a joke. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And the bottom line is, we see this same attitude throughout our society now. And we see it in the context of something like this tiny policy that, I mean, it's a tiny policy, but those 100 kids, you go interview those 100 kids 10 years from now, this is still going to be part of who they are. 20 years from now, that's going to resonate in a way that I don't know what else could throughout the entire year. Unbelievable. Just shocking. But you see these policies in the context of what they're doing in Kansas with the limits on ATM withdrawals. You see this in the context of welfare reform in 1996. You see it in the way that we collect taxes to pay for schools. Really, it's just shocking. I didn't see a follow-up to this story, but the idea that this woman still has a job, it would just be outrageous. And look, and this is also another example of like why you need protections for teachers. Because you know there was a teacher going like, you can't do this. This is absurd. Unbelievable.
There's a slightly happy follow-up in a small sense. The company that put together the carnival, they upon finding out about it, they're apparently going to host a party for the kids who were left out.
That's good for that company, but that is effing ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You know what you know what I hope they do? I hope they put that principal in one of those dunk tanks. And any kid who hits her and sinks her, she loses her job.
They just walk the kid
Exactly.
up. Like, you don't even actually need to throw it anymore.
Exactly.
You just go and smack the fucking
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.